Probably hear a lot of people in the background talking, but that's fine. I'm doing a story today on the Northern Rivers Railway Action Group. Now, in a minute, Lydia is going to join me. She's over there with all these other people. And you're quite welcome to come in there and leave your comment or ask Lydia a question about what's going on with the Byron Bay Railway. Not the actual Byron Bay Railway itself, but the railway line, and find out what's actually going on. Now, just to bring people up to speed, if you don't know, in 2006, I walked the railway line from Casino to Murwillumbah onto Condong, and I proposed a tourist train to run from Byron Bay up to Mullumbimby and further up to Mooball. Well, now we have 20 years later, or actually 17 years later, we had the Byron Bay solar power train running from the north side of level crossing up to Main Beach, North Beach, up there next door to Elements at sunrise at Byron Bay. Now they've got the grant now to go ahead and examine the track and whatever else between Elements of Byron, or Byron Bay to North Beach, right up there to Mullumbimby, up to Crabs Creek, and right up to there. But they only want to go as far as Tayalga. Anyway, not Tyagra. There's a whole bunch of T's and Y names up there. So in a minute, I'm going to have Lydia going to come in here, and she's running around and she's talking to everybody else and trying to do what she's doing. Now, what the controversy was way back in the 1980s. The railways decided in their wisdom under the Liberal government is to take away 30 of the 35 railway stations on the whole railway line on one here. And what happened was, because therefore then there was only 5 train stations, there was Murwillumbah, Mullumbimby, Byron Bay, Bangalore, Lismore, and then over to Casino. Therefore then the local population, such as Bexhill and places like Stoker Siding, no longer had a rail service. Now, I go back further than what these people go back. I remember the times when I drove with my father a 600 class, 900 class Debset out of Murwillumbah, a 2-car red diesel, the same as what is at Byron Bay. And that's what's there today. And I particularly remember one day there was a landslide and it come down, hit the side of the train and put a little tiny hole in the side of the train. But anyway, that was way back in 1975. So that's how far way back I go. So I was born in 61. But I still remember coming up there even on a steam train in 1966, 67 as a kid and watching the steam train chug into Murwillumbah and, you know, the soot and the smoke and all the rest. Anyway, in the old-fashioned wooden box carriages. So my history of this railway line is a lot more further intense than everybody else's. Now, right behind me, we have a sign up here, and it says, extend the solar train to Byron Bay, to Mullumbimby, right? From Byron Bay to Mullumbimby. Hello, what's your name?
I'm Jackie.
Hello, Jackie.
It's all right, I'm following everything. I'm listening to you.
You're listening to me. Well, that's good. At least I've got an audience without having an audience. Because sometimes I could do a live stream chat, and people here know it, and I might get no viewers. Then all of a sudden, I'll get 10, and then all of a sudden I'll get none. It's the internet. It's not like a TV station. But later on, when you come back a couple of weeks later, you'll see something like 500 people have viewed it when they got time to come and sit down and watch it.
Oh, right, okay.
Right, so
Is that how it works?
That's how basically it works. When people want to sit down and watch this channel, my channel,
So you're giving them a history.
I'm giving them a bit of history, and then Lydia's going to come over and explain what they're doing. And exactly what she's going to tell me is what I proposed way back in 2006. They're only copying exactly what I said, 2006. And then Brian at Byron Bray Solar Powered Trains, he's seen my business plan on Google Panorama photos. And it was all written up there in the photo, each block of ground, each level crossing. This is what should be built here, what should be built there, and this is what happened. And then now the Byron Bay Railway at that North Beach is exactly built their train station, exactly where I said, and I still got the original pictures downloaded
Yeah.
with me saying this should be a railway station, and they
Wow.
built it there. And this is 2006. Brian didn't get up there until 2012.
Yeah, so
I-
it really doesn't matter, does it? You're happy that it's there because you sort of
That was my-
predicted,
That's
you
right.
predicted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I had the forethought
Yeah.
because with my trade in the transport industry,
Yeah.
and also archives,
Yeah.
taxis,
Yeah.
radio communications,
Yeah.
railways,
Yeah.
designed a wheelchair cabs for the 2000 Olympic Games,
Yeah.
disused railway line track inspector.
Yeah. Oh, you've got.
I got a few things I need to be built.
Yeah, that's.
And
right.
also people movement. Now, people movement
Yeah.
is a very strange hobby because it goes on the other business I'm associated with, which is stock taking.
Mhm.
Now, stock taking is when you have a shop and then somebody has a shop and they build it up. And they might buy it for $20,000.
Yeah.
They build it up to $80,000
Yeah.
and then they sell it. And then what I do, I come in there, count all the stock.
Yeah.
So to both parties, bipartisan,
Yeah.
that the true price of what's in the building,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Then there's a goodwill price,
Yeah.
and then they
There have to be a profit.
right,
Yeah.
and then he sells it to the new owner.
Yeah.
Well, what happens then is the new owner comes in and he expects to get back his $80,000. So he then changes the business plan of the original owner,
Yeah.
which made all the money,
Yeah.
to try and cut cost. Say, for example, I had a hamburger this big, and then I bought the shop, and then I thought, I'm now the new owner, and I want to make it a little bit smaller because I can buy a bun 10 cents cheaper, but I'll still charge the same price.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
but people aren't stupid.
No.
They see the bun smaller,
And
and
they
then
get
they say,
annoyed.
oh, and then they get annoyed, and then they don't come back and buy that hamburger there anymore, and therefore then the shop goes back down to value of $20,000.
That's right, yeah.
The guy's lost his money, and then the original owner
Yes.
steps back in and says, I'll buy it back off you for $20,000 and I'll take over it again. And there was one Greek guy in Marrickville did that 3 times. And that is a fact on Marrickville Road. So that's what I know.
Funny, isn't it?
Yes. So
It's sort of like,
yeah.
that's right. They do
Have
that
you
to our
ever
chocolate
seen
bars,
a
don't they?
Chinese cafe
Yeah.
cook hamburgers?
No. No.
No, that's
No.
exactly right. You never ever see Chinese cooking hamburgers.
No.
They cook great Chinese food, but they don't cook hamburgers.
And
See?
not very good at it.
So how good have I got to be to even know you're going to say no to that one? Because that's small business 101.
Yeah.
Chinese don't cook hamburgers, right?
That's right.
They just have no idea what they're doing.
That's
they just
right.
they look at them.
It's not their forte.
That's right.
That's okay.
Anyway, so hopefully Lydia's going to come
Yeah.
wandering back.
No,
Um,
I sort of think it's sort of past the hippie thing now, isn't it? It's not a hippie thing. It's about people who live in the area and need transport, isn't it?
Well, see, the great thing about here is that what state governments, when I worked in the State Rail Authority,
Yeah.
is that, as Neil Battersby once quoted, the politicians are there to serve the public, not there to serve themselves.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. They've lost sight of that one, haven't they?
Yeah. And
Did they get that email?
did they get that email?
Email.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think they got the note. No, I don't think they got the note.
I
So
think they did.
state governments, now Labor's in, we finally had 12 years of crap with Liberal lies, and Liberals Well, let's give you a quick history lesson. Liberals way back in the 1980s devised a plan to destroy all the railways in New South Wales, then turned it from New South Wales Government Railways, New South Wales Transport Commission, Public Transport Commission, and then eventually into State Rail Authority, then State Rail Authority Corporation, which made it a private body, which therefore then enabled them then to sell off the goods and sell it as a company, then to sell off the assets, which was the freight and the parcels. And to this day, you can still go over that bridge over here at Lismore, go over there to a trucking company, and you will find they used away bills for Freight Corp that went out of business back in 2000.
So that's the problem, isn't it? So
See, what they did, they took Freight Corp, which owned all the locomotives, 48 classes and 82 class, 81 class, 80 class locomotives, had Freight Corp, the blue ones, the big blue locomotives, and they sold it off to private enterprise. And that's why when you go over here on the road that goes out here to Casino, there's a transport company over there, and you say you want to send something over to Perth, they use a Freight Corp voucher still to this day. New South Wales Government Railways, basically.
it's a bit dodgy, isn't it? All of that's
Yeah,
dodgy.
that's what they did. It's like a franchise. They franchised the railways out, so that therefore then the taxpayer was no longer liable for the cost of the tracks. But originally, when it was New South Wales Government Railways, which was originally formed from the Sydney Railway Company and the Newcastle Railway Company, and they built a railway line from Sydney to Brisbane via Tenterfield, changing over at Wallangarra, transshipping. In World War II there with General MacArthur, because I'm the one who got the restaurant started at Wallangarra. I gave them the original plans in 1886, the same as Tenterfield Railway Station in 1886, and my name's over there up on the wall. And their museum, they got the train I drove there with my father, which is on my channel, and go way down Tenterfield, just look up Tenterfield. And when Lismore built the railway line from here from Lismore, it went to Mullumbimby first. Then it went on to Murwillumbah. And people don't know this. Why is Yukai called Yukai and it's incorrect?
Why? I don't know.
Its real name is UK1.
Oh my goodness.
The 1 is not an I. It's a 1. United Kingdom Timber Plant number 1. And they used to take the trees out of Yukai to build all the bridges here, because they floated them down the Tweed River and then brought them up the Wilson.
And that's why this river hasn't been maintained for the last 30 years.
Yeah, but 100 and something years ago, they floated the timbers on barges down the Tweed River, out past Byron Bay, and brought it back up the Wilson. That's where they got all these timbers for these bridges. They all come from Yukai.
It's sensible. They did a lot of sensible things, didn't they?
Yeah, but they built it the way they had to build it, because they didn't have the infrastructure such as concrete bridges.
Wow.
That's how they did it. So all these... I know where the timber come from. I've seen the archive reports. Where the timber come from to build the bridges in Lismore come from Yukai. Or UK1.
I think that's really funny.
Yeah, and that's why they built the railway line to Murwillumbah, because then the oxen only had to take the trees down along the road that goes to Nimbin, or throw them in the Tweed River and float them down there next to where Taylor's car yard is, opposite the park, near the bridge. And they bring them up the bank and put them on the train tracks at Murwillumbah. And then they cart them back by a steam train back up to here. Then they built the railway line from here up to Casino, up to Kyogle. Then they went down to Grafton. And then when they got down to Grafton, they couldn't get over the great big river. So the railway said, oh my goodness me, we've got this great big railway up there, up north. It's functioning. It's making money. because there was 1,000 people showed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so the government said, oh, geez, well, we better form the New South Wales Government Railway.
Yeah.
And you'll find it was formed after the creation of the Lismore Railway line. See?
God, so it's very political, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very political.
It's really,
So then what happened was,
yeah.
they then said, oh, shit, we've been running trains up through the New England
Yeah.
because they basically had to feed Sydney
Yeah.
on sheep and cattle.
Yeah.
So the New England, Uralla, Armidale, Tamworth, Werris Creek, Corindai,
Yeah.
places like that, Scone, Muswellbrook, Maitland,
Yeah.
Cole, and later on was discovered around the Maitland area, around the Muswellbrook area and Scone area, McCulley's Gap and places like that. And they had all these cattle and sheep.
Mm.
So that's how they fed Sydney. And then they brought them down into Sydney. Well, so then they joined the railway line up and went up through the New England because there was no rivers. But what they did have was plenty of boreholes, water
Oh.
through natural springs.
Yeah.
And that's why the railway line goes through a place called Ben Lomond. Ben Lomond has a natural spring, but you can't drink the water there because they put in lead pipes. So the lead pipes at Ben Lomond are still in the ground. They used to feed down to the train station and fill up the steam engines, are now only used to flush the toilets in the township of Ben Lomond. But all their drinking water has to come from the sky and land in their gutters. But the toilets, only the toilets, are allowed to have the water from the dam.
Because they've got lead pipes.
The lead pipe, yeah, the lead's in the water.
Wouldn't they be able to get rid of the lead pipe?
No, the lead pipes are buried way down.
down,
It was
yeah.
built way back in the 1880s.
Yeah.
With big old-fashioned steam shovels and horse-drawn carts, and they when they dug it and they built it to stay.
So, yeah.
And that's why when you look at all the old railway stations,
Yeah.
when you go to Maitland, Singleton,
Yeah.
Muswellbrook, Werris Creek,
Yeah.
and even Tenterfield
Yeah.
and Wallangarra, it's got the flat awning and the bar and the circle on it,
Mm-hmm. Bar in a circle. Yeah.
on the awnings
Yeah.
supports.
Mm.
And they're exactly the same ones as what they have around Sydney City, such as Burwood, St Mary's or Petersham and all that sort of area. But when you look at all the train stations that they built north of Maitland to come up to here, such as Dungog, Taree,
Yeah. I love that
Wauchope,
name, Dungog.
right, Taree,
Yeah.
Coffs Harbour,
Yeah.
they're all new brick.
Yeah, they are.
They're all more modern.
modern, yeah.
They were built 80 years after the railway line to Tenterfield was opened.
It's all nonsense, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is
But then what they did, and they said, well, we've got to build it up there really quick. So within the several years, they built the railway line
Yeah.
from Maitland, they turned right
Yeah.
and went to Talara, and then Talara out to Patterson, out to Dungog,
Yeah.
and then Taree, Kempsey, Wauchope, and
Yeah.
all the others, all the
Yeah.
way right up to Grafton. Now, when they got up to Grafton, the railway said, how do we cross the river too?
Yeah. That's right.
So what did they just open up in Sydney?
What?
The Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Yeah.
So how did they used to cross the steam trains from the north side of Sydney Harbour to the south side? They had a ferry,
All right.
a steam train ferry.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at a map of Sydney, you see Hickson Road. On Hickson Road, you have Pier 1, Pier 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
And you see these big bridges go into the top level. They were there for all the steam engines to go into the wharves.
That must have been magnificent.
It was.
Strong. They would have been.
No, they're still there today. I can show you one.
Yeah.
And my father used to drive the steam train
Yeah.
over these bridges when I was a kid, and he told me about it. And Darling Harbour in the city of Sydney is actually the Darling Harbour Rail Complex. It used to be the main Darling Harbour Railway. And that's where they used to unload all the ships from around the world before they started getting these jumbo jets bringing in everything else from all around the world. They used to bring it in.
Oh, yeah, the shipping was huge, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that's right. Sydney Harbour
Yeah.
was so huge
Yeah,
that, so what they had was a ferry.
yeah.
And he used to go from Pier 1, which is right underneath, Pier 2 actually, underneath the Harbour Bridge, and you go to the other side, North Sydney side, you got Nelson's Point, North Sydney, Wollstonecraft, and if you look at the side of Wollstonecraft train station on Google Earth, anybody, or you'll see there's a railway line goes down the hill, and it comes right down to the back of Luna Park. And if you look at Luna Park, you look straight across, you see Pier 2. And that's where the ferry used to go across with the steam engines, because it was too far for them to go.
Yeah,
To take a load of freight
yeah.
to Chatswood,
Yeah.
they'd have to run a steam engine out of Darling Harbour, round through Star City Casino,
Yeah.
down through the Sydney Tram network, where that goes out to the other line on the Punch Bowl line,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Then go round to Bankstown, back up to Strathfield,
yeah.
and then go right up the North Shore, and then come back down the North Shore, and then come down to Chatswood. So what they did, they had a little ferry, and it'd go from here down the other side of the park down there.
Oh my goodness.
But that ferry could hold 10 railway carriages. And that's the ferry they then dragged. Once they opened up the Sydney Harbour Bridge, they brought it from Sydney up to Grafton. And they ran the ferry across there at Grafton. And you used to get on the ferry at Grafton,
Yeah.
push it on with one steam engine. The ferry would go across with the carriages and all the people on it to the other side, and then a steam engine belonging to Lismore would come over and hook onto it and take it off the train.
It really was an exciting time, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's how they used to do it.
Yeah, it really is quite amazing because you've got a lot of people moving there just by listening to the story. You've got a lot of
You got
stuff
shunters, you got engineers, you got ferry operators, guys shoveling coal, people checking the tracks, signalmen.
Yes.
When I was 16 years old, I used to climb up the big railway signal posts,
Yeah.
and I used to carry up a kerosene lantern, and I used to clean them. And I'd be swinging up there in a bloody 30-mile-an-hour wind, and you'd be hanging on there, your dead little 16-year-old body. My little backside would be wrapped around, my legs would be wrapped around the ladder,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to hang on there and clean this lantern, but, using my elbows through the
You
ladder.
really need to put all of this in your podcast because, people...
Well, this is what people don't realise.
No.
So when you look here, now I've got it, I can blow it up for you. You can see exactly what I'm talking about.
So, what we're
There.
asking is not...
Hang on, I'll just show them first. Right,
Yeah.
sort of, people can do that at home.
Yeah,
Right. See there, you can see the walls.
yeah.
Right. Then when you look on the other side of the harbour,
Yeah.
you see there's a red line that comes down there.
Yes, yes.
That's about where the railway line is.
Oh, right.
And it stops at the back of Luna Park.
Oh, right.
So, and you can see that joins up there with that.
Yeah. So what's happened to all of these railway lines now, or even...
Well, that railway line down there is Lavender Bay. It's called Lavender Bay.
Yeah.
That's still being used.
Oh, it is
It's still being used as a storage yard.
Oh, right.
They put a few trains down there.
Oh, right, yeah.
But basically, that's what it used to be. That was how they got across Sydney Harbour.
Yeah, it's really quite amazing.
You see, Lydia... Right.
Yeah, no, it's... I'll let you.
No,
I'll let you
you're
go
right. No, I'll keep
No,
going.
yeah,
No,
that's right.
look,
No.
I am used to running a channel by myself
So, yeah.
until the people come in. That's
Yeah,
fine.
that's right.
Right,
no.
so what happened...
But it's okay, so it just seems like governments have not really taken on board that there is a need for transport in this area.
What they did was they took out 30 of the 35 railway stations.
said
They
that,
took
yeah.
away the diesel trains,
Yeah.
which is the same as the Byron Bay solar power trains.
Which is the one now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that used to stop every single station.
Yeah.
So a bloke who lived at Stoker's Siding
Yeah.
could go to work at Beck's Hill,
Yeah, that's right.
right? He
Yeah.
could go work on a dairy farm. He
Yeah.
could go fix a fence. He
Yeah.
could, whatever he was doing.
Yeah,
So then when people then started going out and buying cars,
yeah. Well, that changes everything.
that changes everything. But as Neil Battersby said, look at the road toll on the side of the road even as you come into Lismore.
Yeah.
I counted half a dozen crosses still going down the side of the road on my way in there today.
Yeah.
You know, people getting killed.
Yeah.
But what happened was the politicians come in, sacked the railway commissioners and took over. Politicians don't run railways. Now, again, Gladys Berejiklian, let's look what she done. She doesn't know how to run ferries. What did she do? She bought all those ferries from Korea and they cracked the Sydney Harbour ferries. Didn't you know that? Yeah, they brought all what they've done, they got all the ferries that Gladys Berejiklian bought,
Yeah.
put them in the dry dock,
Yeah.
and got out the old steel ones, that are 80 years old,
Yeah.
and put them back in service
Oh my God, doesn't it?
after a refit.
Oh my God.
Right? So she wasted all that
That
money.
money.
And Gladys, she bought those trams.
Oh, I don't know about that.
She bought the trams that go from Circular Quay
Yeah.
out there to Randwick, and then she also bought the trams that go from around Central and go out to Star City over to Dulwich Hill. Well, they cracked and broke. So they had to take them off the
So they were
rails
made in Korea or
when
China.
she was still in office. And then Perrottet took over.
Mm.
And I was up here and I just went back down there. It's just after or during COVID. And they turned around and I said, it's another heap of shit bought from overseas. Chinese, Korean, Singaporean or whatever else they bought, not Australian made. And she turned around and she said, you can't make nothing here in Australia.
Which is not true.
Which is not true. We used to make all our own kettles. We used to make all our own stoves, refrigerators, TVs, washing machines. We used to make our own trains, Commonwealth engineering.
Yeah.
And also train carriages were made at Guildford in Sydney. And there's one still sitting down there at Glenray, just off the main line as you're coming through Glenray to go to Coffs Harbour.
Yeah.
There's no wooden carriage built there. I've got its number there in its photo. I've been inside of it, I've taken all the photos of it. It was built at Guildford, just south of Parramatta. That's where that was built.
And it just sounds like it's
Politicians interfere with industries. They are politicians that need to sit there and do what they're doing about their jobs, right?
yeah.
Do the garbage bins, do the schools, do the teachers, do all the paperwork, but they don't know how to buy trains. They don't know how to buy a locomotive. They don't know how to buy a ferry, and they don't even know how to buy buses.
But they don't know how to run a business either, do
That's
they?
what I mean. They don't know how
That's
to.
not their job.
It's not their job.
No.
They are a politician due to allocate money to where it should go for the perfect reason and let the railway experts buy the trains.
Yeah.
Then remember what happened with the bus that went over the Sydney Harbour Bridge and caught fire? It was one of the buses the government bought. They bought these buses from overseas. It caught fire on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Everybody had to get off. The Harbour Bridge got closed, down to one lane either side, all this sort of drama. And now all buses in New South Wales have to be fitted with automatic fire extinguishers. So how much money did that then cost all these private little bus companies to fit all their bus engine bays out with these automatic fire alarm systems? And also, due to 95, Carl Scully in Labor brought out security cameras and GPS tracking, and that's where I come in because I was in the taxi industry. I got punched in the back of the head in 93, and Carl Scully said, me, Donnie Marshall, and an Asian guy were the precedent, not president, precedent for us to have cameras and GPS tracking on taxis. That same GPS is the map on your mobile phone.
Yeah.
So if you don't believe me, go Google Maps and you'll find you come from a Sydney cab company called SigTech. And that was me and my mates
Oh, right.
in the cab company.
Yeah. So you became a precedent.
I was a precedent for the state government to turn around and say, this is what we're going to bring in. So what the railways did up here was they got rid of the trains up here by getting rid of the stations. So if there's no stations, there's nobody can get on the train. Nobody can get on a train that's not making any money. So therefore then they don't have to pay for rebuilding, right? Right, so therefore then they can say, right, let's get rid of it, get rid of it. But now what they've done, what they didn't realise, and I'm not going to let that on the bag, they have done a beautiful job of rebuilding all the bridges from Mooball right up there to Murwillumbah of the old timber bridges that come out of Yukai, and they're now put in treated timber bridges, exactly the same plan, exactly the same style, in exactly the same holes, but they're 3 times thicker.
So they've all been repaired. They've been
Rebuilt.
Rebuilt.
Completely
so
rebuilt.
There's no excuse not to continue.
So in other words, if rail trail fails, you can take the footpath away, relay your ballast, which is still there.
Yeah.
It's only a bit of tar on the top, and put your sleepers back down, and they'd automatically have to put in new rail anyway, because when they reopen a railway line that's been closed for 20 years, the rails have to be changed. It's the same as in Sydney. Now people say, well, that is a lot of money. Well, hello. When they do Blacktown to Penrith, Blacktown to St Mary's, there's 4 tracks, which is 8 rails, and they replaced the whole lot in one weekend from Friday midnight, Saturday, Sunday, round to 4 a.m. Monday.
And they can come.
And that is approximately 12 kilometres. So it's 12, 8 lots of 12 kilometre tracks. So that's over 100 kilometres of rail.
Yeah. And they did then one weekend.
One weekend. So how long do you think it's going to take them to replace 20 kilometres of rail from Murwillumbah to Crabs Creek with 2 rails? It'd take them one weekend. It'd take them one weekend. They could just go in there because they've already built the big, stronger, new bridges between Mooball back to Murwillumbah.
And they don't want anybody to know about it. Is that what?
Everybody knows about it because you get in there, you can see them, but they're not telling you personally as a lady or these other guys because you're not in the railway game.
No.
But if you go down and look at these bridges, now what you do, you go down here in Lismore, or somewhere else, and you go and take a picture of the old timber bridges. And then what you see on them is a number. And it should say something like about 820, 850, 860 kilometres, point so many metres. 125, right? So it's 125 metres, or 125.5 metres. They were exactly to the millimetre when they put those markers on.
So it's really just a matter of...
Lydia, you want? I'm waiting for you.
I think we're closing up now.
I know you're closing up, but can I just have you there for a minute? Anyway, so...
But I think I made them quite neat.
Anyway, so Lydia's coming over. Lydia is the treasurer, I think? Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Of the Northern Rivers Railway.
Yes, I
so,
think so. But anyhow, I should have but anyhow, it's too late.
Yeah, I hope she hurries up because I'm going to get cold. Yes, by the way, if you like Mr. Hominoid t-shirt, they are available. Postage, and I sent them out, and it says Mr. Hominoid and is hominoidable. Anyway, if you want my big blue beast, Mr. Hominoid. She's done all her own filming with her other camera crew, and still sitting here waiting for her. Poor darling. Anyway, she's over there packing up. They sell clothes and whatever else they can for fundraising. But anyway, Mr. Hominoid's going to help her out.
That's where you'll be.
Anyway, so what they need to do now is that they want to reopen the track from the Byron Bay North Beach up to Mullumbimby to, what's the name of that town again? He's behind me. He's taking my sign away. Oh my God. I better get kicked out of here. I'll just use a backdrop so I don't get sun on me.
Sorry, we are.
Anyway, is Lydia going to come over? Or is she just?
Lydia,
I just want it for 2 minutes, and then they're not going to end this stream. I'll be gone for 35 minutes waiting for you. Anyway,
Yep.
so Lydia can give you all her details and where she can write to and find out everything about this extension of the bio-based solar power train going on to Crabs Creek. I call it Crabs Creek, right? Because that's a legal boundary. Is basically blank spot. It just threw me off when he was doing the map, doing the sign behind me. Wuyong Road, that's where they finished. And they left the rails there behind and they haven't touched them from Wuyong Road. So on one side is a bicycle track underneath the Wuyong Road bridge, and on this side there's rails. And then it goes down to the boundary. Right, Lydia, come on, quick. 2 minutes. Oh, you're bleeding? Oh my God. Oh God, she got run over by a train.
The back of the car, yeah.
Unbelievable. This is definitely a hominoid channel. If anything can go wrong on my show, it always does. Anyway. So now I've got a bleeding Lydia. Well, I can almost say I've got a bloody Lydia now. Yes, bloody Lydia, yes.
Here I am. Should I
Right,
stay
come up.
here?
Right, there we go. Now, I'm going to put the camera on you, but he's been
No,
looking
not there.
What? No, I meant you.
No, I'm going to put plates, cups, things here.
Oh, now move right up, come on. I don't.
Hi.
Now, introduce yourself, Lydia. Go on.
Okay, I'm Lydia Kindred I'm the Secretary of the Northern Rivers Rail Limited, and I'm
Sitting here
working-
with Mr. Hominoid.
Yes, sitting here with Mr. Hominoid, working towards, with as many people as possible, to bring rail services back to the Northern Rivers, which is what we need so desperately for a lot of people, and working with another company, Northern Regional Railway Company, who have now been granted the ability to access the railway line through the whole of Byron Shire. And
That's from North Beach right up to
well, no, from Bangalore.
Bangalore. Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
that's right.
goes
Yeah,
all the
Bangalore.
way through Byron Bay, up through Mullumbimby, all the way up to Yelgan, and which is the top of Byron Shire, which is where
Actually,
where
the
they
exact boundary on my railway records.
Yeah.
Get a little bit back in there on the camera.
Yeah.
When I was that track inspector, your boundary is actually where you see the sign that says Tweed, welcome to Tweed City Council,
Oh yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
you go into the nursery,
Okay.
and that mileage marker is 910.150.
Okay.
That is the correct boundary.
Okay.
That's why they stopped a little bit further down the track at Wuyong Road,
Yeah.
because that creek is the actual boundary for
Okay.
Tweed Shire Council. So they can't come over any
No,
further.
that's
So
true.
you can actually, for the record, and I'll put that on camera,
Yeah.
from me, the guy that has all the archive diagrams and the council plans where their boundary lines are.
Yeah.
You can actually go through, what's the name of the festival is?
It's North Byron Parklands.
No.
Oh, Tiagra with the
Tiagra.
Blues Fest.
Yeah, Blues
Yeah,
Fest,
yeah.
right. When you go up there on top of that bridge, I inspected that bridge. That's a big
Oh, yeah.
steel bridge.
Yeah.
And then,
Is that on the highway?
yeah, well, okay, use my fingers.
Yeah.
Here's the old Pacific Highway.
Yeah.
Here's the motorway.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the old Pacific Highway with the double lanes still sitting down there,
Yeah.
and it's been chopped off, and the little road that goes out to Diagram, and then there's the railway line.
Yeah.
Right? Well, you can actually use that car park space, which used to be the 1990 Pacific Highway, as a car park area, and where people can safely walk down and get into a car or walk underneath the motorway over to that grounds.
Yeah.
And I put on my plans back in 2006, that was to be that railway station there.
Yeah.
But
right.
at that time, there was no park there. It was designed to put the station there for the locals out there,
Oh,
because
yeah,
if
right.
they bought their groceries at Mullumbimby,
Yeah.
they could get off there and park their cars on that little bit of tar
Right.
and then just drive down their dead-end road, because that road is a no-through road. So they could
Okay.
drive their cars up there,
Yeah.
get up there, get up and get on the train and go to Mullumbimby,
Yeah. Right. Okay.
right? But now
Okay.
they've got the park there across the road on the other side of the freeway.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can turn that into a 2-car or even a 4-car train set station before the tunnel. So the platform has only got to clear the edge of the tunnel by a certain
Yeah.
distance.
Yeah.
And they can build the platform right up to the edge of the bridge,
Right. Right.
which has
Okay.
only got lantana up there, because I've got videos of Chris, actually, your
Yeah.
Chris,
Yeah.
walking up there wearing his socks, believe it or
Right.
not.
Oh, okay. Well, my Chris. Oh, well.
Yeah, the Chris that, you know,
this we're
the
working with.
the
Okay.
Chris that we both know.
Yes.
Right,
okay.
with no names, right?
Oh, yes, of course,
Um,
Chris. So, okay, well, we've been looking at all those options, and it was originally going to be working to extend the train service to Tyagra there and then on to Mullumbimby, but then it became problematic with some of the owners of the land
Tyagra.
around Tyagra.
Oh, hang on. No,
Yeah.
I meant where the festival is.
Yeah, oh, on that side. Well,
What's
yeah,
that town? What's that called? That's
it is Tyagra.
no,
around
not
there.
Tyagra. Then you go round to Mullumbimby,
Yeah.
and then you go on to that little 4-letter town. Tugan?
Tugan.
No, not Tugan.
No, four-letter
Where the festival is, Byron Bay Festival Grounds,
No, that is
grasslands.
Tyagra. Oh no, North Byron Parklands is at Yelgan.
Yelgan. Yeah, that's
further up.
well, that's
yeah.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Yelgan.
that's where we're looking at, because what they've scored is they've been granted access
Up
to
to Yelgan.
Bangalow to Yelgan.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole of Byron Shire.
Right.
So
And
that's really
if you
great.
go across the bridge at Yelgan,
Okay, yeah.
right,
The Wuyong Bridge.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm pretty
no,
sure. someone
that's
told me that.
up further.
Oh,
no,
okay.
the Yelgan Bridge is the Yelgan Creek,
Yeah, okay.
right?
All right.
And right there is what, if you go to the north side of that, you've got trees in the middle of the rails.
Okay.
But if you stay on the Mullumbimby side
Yeah.
of that bridge,
Yeah.
so you can still run the train onto the bridge itself
Right.
if it goes past it, hit the platform, and then people can walk out the back
Right.
and then come down into that bit of dirt road.
Okay. All
Right?
right.
When
okay.
I finish this live stream,
Yeah.
I'll show you on
Yeah.
on that
Okay.
this
well,
unit.
most people wouldn't have any idea what we're talking
Well,
about.
I've walked it all.
Yeah, you have, but no one else really would know in a million years.
This
what
is the
we're
whole
talking
problem.
about.
What I was trying, I kept
Yeah.
saying to Beth about
Mm.
when I was down in Sydney. I said, look, I've got so much information in my head,
Yeah.
but I'm in Sydney. I
Yeah.
don't know who to talk to about
yeah,
up here about
yeah,
it.
That's right. Yeah.
And now
Well,
I believe.
okay. Well, any input is much appreciated. We're
Well-
certainly appreciative of what we can. If we can work with you along the way to get any insights, that's
Well, I got all the mileages, all the videos
Yeah,
of the
right.
bridges and what they were like
great. Yeah.
way back in 2006 on another computer stuck down in Sydney.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I've got to get
All
that
right.
up
All right,
here yet.
great. All right.
And it's actually,
Okay.
I've got a photograph of actually where the Byron Bay Railway Company is now,
Mm.
what they call North Beach.
Yep.
I've actually got the photograph of that was still green lawn.
Yes.
And
yeah.
also the one at the level crossing there on Bangalow Road.
Mm.
And I said, turn that into a train station.
Yeah.
Right with that level crossing, they took it out.
Okay, the level crossing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bangalow Road, coming
Yeah.
down from Bangalow.
Yeah.
Did you know Bangalow train station actually used to have a loop line?
I've been told that, and they've taken
Yes.
the loops out of there, and
That's how they
Mullumbimby and
that's how they
somewhere
destroyed
else.
it.
Yeah,
Burring Bar.
Baringa. That's
Yes,
the
they
other
had a
one.
good shed and a
Yeah,
crane
that's right.
and the whole lot and a loop line.
Yes.
And that's what they did.
Yes.
They took away all the access points to well, I'll put that back on me so people aren't so like
Yeah.
oh,
Okay,
there you
no,
go.
that's
no,
okay.
that's all right.
No, that's good.
Hey, look, you're better
Do
looking.
you want
You're
me
better.
to say anything else about it? I'm going to have to help them pack up.
Oh, tell them to wait for a
Yeah.
minute because this is going to be here
Yeah,
forever.
yeah,
Right.
that's fair
So when do you think, if you want to, I'm quite happy to donate a bit of my time, money and resources.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not going to say on air what my resources and money is or whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'll be a fool. But we will talk about that off air, and about going up the track, because I actually, as I said, I walked that track in
Yeah.
2006 when it was dead clean.
Yeah, well,
And then the other point is too...
officially you're not allowed to unless you've got the official access, which we do have now. But you still...
I was the official track inspector for that line,
Oh,
so
well,
I
you
still
were- you
had
were
my
able to.
access.
Oh, well, that's fair enough then.
See,
Yeah,
I have
well,
a big saying on my channel. A lot of people
yeah.
hear, but they don't listen. A lot of people see,
Yeah.
but they don't look.
Well, we
or
need
they
to
look and they
get
don't see.
you in touch with the people who are the Northern Regional Railway Company, who are looking at the moment who can be involved to make this happen, to clear that track enough to do the study, so that they can do the costings. They've got lots of different companies who are going to be doing the costings on each aspect of it, and they will all be working together to get the absolute right answer. So then we know what we're aiming for.
Well, as long
with
as we do,
finance.
well, the main thing is we don't even dare listen to the Arab report. I mean...
No, that's right. It's crazy.
I mean, that's going to
stupid
be the
bizarre.
biggest joke out.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Terrible.
that's all Nicky Griner.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you a little fact about Nicky Griner. Nick Griner, the former Premier, who then federal, who also came back under Barry Unsworth.
Yeah.
And when he found out Barry Unsworth was a Liberal Premier who then took in a former Liberal Premier and didn't realise he was a former Liberal Premier. He was the guy that set up for these railways to be destroyed. And Barry Unsworth stood up there at Murwillumbah and said, no, I'm going to keep the railway line open, I'm going to do whatever. And then when he found out it was Nick Griner that was the one who actually set it up, selling off all the assets and changing State Rail Authority over to State Rail Authority Corporation.
Right.
That's how they could sell off the freight, get rid of the parcels, and get rid of all the infrastructure, and sell off the buildings, the houses, and the land. But there's one thing that they all forgot about, is that the railway corridor always belongs to the people, and anybody who illegally takes a piece of railway line off the railway line corridor without proper authority can be personally held responsible. And I personally got a farmer up at Barraba who took out several metres of railway track, and he said nobody uses it anymore, and he put it up as his fence post. And I went out and took photos of it and cleaned up the dates of the track and proved the rail was from that railway line, because I got the archives when that track was laid. And he had to pay back the New South Wales government way back in 1995 for that railway line that he stole.
Wow, there you go.
And he had to pay for it.
Yeah.
But he didn't have to put it back. He just had to pay for it.
Yeah.
For the cost of a new railway line, which never got relayed.
No.
But he still had to pay for the cost of a new one, not the cost of the old one.
And that's a really interesting point, because from what I gather, they've just pulled up the tracks from Casino to Bentley, which is halfway to Lismore.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's right out front of the mini railway.
Yeah, well, and they've pulled up the tracks from from Murwillumbah down to Crabs Creek, but
Not quite Crabs Creek. It's actually wide.
Near there.
Yeah.
That the contractors have stored that incredible steel, which is the optimum, highest grade steel in the world. It was our BHP very early, and I've also heard that anything pre-1945 is in total demand around the world, especially China, who does Geiger counters and medical equipment, because it's pre-nuclear testing, and so it doesn't have the radioactive component that all steel ever since then has.
That's right.
And so it's really in high demand. So they would have got a
that train track in
now,
1965 was 40-foot lengths.
Yeah.
In 1965, Murwillumbah Railway Line was 40-foot lengths.
Right.
It wasn't until the early 70s they put down the heavier track.
Right.
Because I can still remember myself, personally as a kid, coming in there on a steam engine, 1965 in the Murwillumbah, and clackety-clack, 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 all the way from Sydney.
Yeah, sure.
All
I
the
remember
way.
that, yeah.
And that heavy gauge
and that's
steel,
the clackety-clack, 'cause
that's
it's
the 40-foot
joints.
lengths.
Ah.
That's the joints, because inside the bulk ship, it's 40-foot lengths inside the hull, Hull, hull of a ship, where they store the rails coming over from Sheffield, England, and also from Pennsylvania,
But they made them here in Australia, didn't they? The
Yeah, BHP
steel.
did,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it was after 1970.
Oh, okay. So you don't think those initial ones, those ones on there?
I can walk up there right now. I can go up
Early.
there and show you and
Yeah.
teach you right now, before dark, to read the age of a railway line.
Okay. Oh, yeah,
printed.
I've seen it written. It's in part of a movie that I've made. That it's got it written on the side, the 65 or whatever.
Right. What is the proper name in the middle of a rail in the back? A lot of people call it the back.
I don't know. What is it?
I've forgotten the word myself. But
there
it
you
starts
go.
with S, but anyway,
Oh,
you've got the
okay.
head and the foot and the
Okay.
spine. No, it's not spine. It's it's
I'm
a funny
not
word.
sure. I'll have to find
I'm
it.
getting old. That's
Anyway.
why I've retired.
Well, it's good to have you having
Well,
that,
thanks for
that
coming on.
background, and may we be able to work
Yes,
together
well, you got my
to
phone
make
numbers.
this happen.
Anyway,
Yeah, for
everybody,
sure. All the best.
there she is. Come on, look, there you
Join
are.
us. To support the
Now,
cause.
tell
because
people where they can find you.
You can go to www.northernriversrail.com.au and you can fill in a survey on there, because we're asking people to do that, and also become a member. $20 or $10 concession, and we just really want people to support the cause and come along with us on this wonderful ride that we're determined to have with the bike trail that people are wanting as well on the side, so we can have both within the railway corridor. So the railway corridor is a minimum of 32 metres wide. There's enough
There's
width
enough room
to
there
be
for
able to
rail
fit
and
it all
trail.
in.
Yeah.
And in lots of areas it's 100 metres wide, like in Byron Bay, where we feel like they're wanting to lease off a lot of it, and that could be part of the background. But we also we are allowed to bring that train service back, because we
Now,
need
for
it. So
people
many
around the
people need it.
world, where we are, we're in the east coast of Australia,
Yeah.
and Byron Bay is the most easterly point of Australia.
It's
with a
halfway along our line.
Yes, and it's halfway on their railway line. Byron Bay train station is yet to be reinstated, as we call it, railway terms.
Yeah.
And the solar power train runs across from Byron Bay train station over the level crossing. It runs through.
No, they've got a new Byron station. That doesn't go across the level crossing. That was part of the problem.
No, you missed what I said. The old Byron Bay train station, it then goes to a level crossing, then the new Byron Bay train station is there for the solar powered train.
Yeah, and it
That's
goes
what I
up
was saying.
to North Beach. Okay.
Yes, that goes to
3
North Beach.
kilometres.
That was me that walked that plan. I built that business plan way back in 2006.
Yeah.
Brian got that off me,
That's right.
and he got that through Neil Battersby.
Yeah.
And even Neil Battersby will tell you that's Neil's plan, my
Oh,
plan.
well, this is all inside information that maybe...
What, you never knew that?
Yeah, no, but for international, maybe you don't want to... Who
No,
knows?
no, it's all right. No, I had it all planned out.
Yeah.
It was originally meant to go from Cemetery Road, south of Byron Bay, into Byron Bay train station with the station at Woolworths, the old Woolworths, which is now right next to us, the new Woolworths, the old Byron Bay train station, over the level crossing, round to, starts with a K. What is it?
Belongil or no?
No, the road starts with K.
Kendall Street.
Kendall Street.
Yeah.
There was meant to be a station there,
Yeah.
and then there was supposed to be one a little bit before the bridge where there's 3 hotels, and across the bridge up there to where North Beach, which is
Which is where...
his resort is,
Yeah.
and then
Byron.
Elements of Byron, and then it was supposed to go underneath the freeway further out, heading north, and just as you come out from the freeway, you got Toyagara Road comes in next to it, and there's a gap of ground in there. All that there was meant to be filled in, and that is the original Toyagara train station, because the little tiny milk platform is still there.
Yes, right.
Did you know that?
I did know that. Someone said that they
I
found...
took a video of it.
Yeah, right.
I had,
okay.
yeah. But anyway, it's Toyagara Milk Station. It's 3 slabs of concrete, and it's got the mileage marker, and it's just up as you come around the, what would that be, western
Yeah.
part. You come off the motorway, you turn left, you've got the railway line over there, and then you turn right again. It's dirt tar road up to the train tracks. You walk in there inside, it's about 6 foot of lantana now, and there's a little milk station there.
Well, that's what
And the Toyagara dairy farmers used to bring all the milk down there. That's what used to put on the steam engine to go back over to here to Lismore back up to Norco Milk,
Yeah,
which is right here, across here next to the train line.
Yeah, right.
And that's why that's here. Then we
Yeah.
go into Mullumbimby. Mullumbimby goes to Billy Nudgel and
Turn
right
it
up there to
over.
Crabs Creek. Anyway, so that's there for me, Mr. Hominoid.
Yeah.
See you later. We'll be up there for an hour. So if you want to go, I'm going
Yeah.
to finish off a bit more.
Good on you. Thank you very much.
That's all right.
That's great. Yeah. All the best.
All right, we'll be over there in a sec. Anyway, so railway line used to go in and Billy Nudgel, and that should be turned into an interchange to run bus services from Billy Nudgel to meet the train as it goes out up there to Talgum. Oh, God, all this. Yeah, Yelgum. Sorry, Yelgum. And then you can have an interchange there, Billy Nudgel. And that's originally what the plans were. But anyway, I've got to go and draw it and give it to you. So, me, Mr. Hominoid, thanks for joining me. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Leave me comments, anything else you like. Please replay the tape of this video, and you can get all of the information that she said, and you can listen to it yourself. And for me, Mr. Hominoid, get your pets spaded and neutered, and God bless, look after yourself. Don't commit suicide, don't do anything silly. And we're all out here, and somebody in the world does love you. And look at me, I'm out here, just got a new artificial left knee, and what am I doing? I'm sitting here on a park bench for the last hour, nearly bloody dying by the agony, out here on a beautiful day with a bunch of lovely people, and they're having a great time. And if you were here February last year, we would have been approximately another 10 metres underwater. So yes, this here was underwater, this whole place. Yes, this is the Lismore floods. This is the Wilson River is right there. That's the river that went under and all, and that's that famous bridge. You see the cars were parked on, and I'll quickly just get myself around and I'll show you. This is the Lismore Wilson River Bridge, the one that you've seen on the news where the bus was parked up there and the flood water was lapping on the back wheels of it on my live stream there the other day. And that's it. Hang on, let's go over this way. We'll go for a walk over here. And I'll turn the camera around, and that way then you can see it. There we go. There. That's, come on camera, work. Doesn't want to do it. Let's see if it does it this way. Anyway, so for me, Mr. Hominoid, this is where we are. Lismore on the Wilson River. This here was underwater. So there it is. Oh, there you go. You see the bridge now. Yes. That's how high the water was. Just underneath where those cars are going across. Me, Mr. Hominoid, see you later. Goodbye. Thanks. Leave a comment. And don't forget, Northern Rivers Railway Company Action Group. See ya. Bye. That's done.